Hey, are we live? I think we might be. All right. What up, homies? How you guys doing here? We are in Rothschild, Wisconsin, and we're about to kick off the 2025 Republican Party of Wisconsin convention. Ooh, doesn't it send shivers down your spine? Man, before you even talk about that, let me tell you a little story here. And obviously, if you're in Wisconsin, we got hit with a bunch of storms overnight yesterday, late afternoon. And, I hope you guys are all safe. That's important. But yeah, man, I went to go get my car washed today on the way up here. And, it's looking all sparkling, clean, fresh. It was nice. I was really enjoying it. And, the winds were kicking, fine, whatever. But you know what? Wouldn't you know it? As I'm coming up here, there's sandstorms all over the place by all these farms. And yeah, now my car's dirty. So there's that. Anywho, I'm sure that's not why you came here, not to talk about my car or anything else like that. But yeah, 2025 convention starting up here this evening. We got hospitality suites, all kinds of good stuff like that. A lot of networking, a lot of connections, a lot of good stuff. But here's the big but. We got some wild stuff going on. I mean, obviously, there's going to be state party business. There's a lot of different contentious things going on. And I have talked about this for well over a year. And you know what? It's kind of sad. People are finally picking up on this. You got the so-called Patriot Movement. You got the Turning Point group out there. You got the RPW group out there. And by the way, if one more person says establishment or deep state, Jesus Christ, everything's deep state. Jay, I'm talking to you, bro. It's like, damn, someone makes a dish and he doesn't like it. It must be deep state. But this is going to be interesting watching how all this unfolds over the weekend. I'm going to be very, very interested. I'm going to be live streaming a lot of different things. I'll be talking to some folks. We'll see what we can get, try to get some interviews. But I think that's probably going to be one of the most contentious thing. There was this talking point that had been launched a little while ago. Brett Galichewski, who happens to be the vice chair of the Milwaukee County Republican Party, as well as I think either regional or national director, something like that. But he's high up there on the Turning Point thing, where he talked about wanting to take over the Republican Party of Wisconsin because the infrastructure is there. Cool. The intent's known. It has been known. Well, we're seeing some moves being made, and this is from Turning Point folks and Turning Point adjacent. So it's going to be interesting watching how that plays out. Is it going to be as contentious as what we saw with the 8th congressional district? That's going to be fascinating to see how that plays out. We know there's some issues going on in Milwaukee County, so we're going to see if that plays out. And I think the thing I see personally, and I want to be very clear about this, because I'm not the biggest fan of RPW. I'm not the biggest fan of any Patriot group or attorney. I'm not the biggest fan of anybody at all. That's just facts. Because I believe in calling balls and strikes as I see them. And I know there's been people like, well, how come you don't interview this person or talk about this person or get this other side? Because I don't freaking want to. See, I don't do this to placate anybody else. I do this for my own self. I do this to get my opinions out there. And if people want to have the conversations, let's have the conversations. That's great. Let's go. It relates to RPW and the potential takeover by Turning Point or any other third party group or third party adjacent group. Doesn't matter. If RPW is not willing to defend itself, the question then needs to become, why should anybody defend RPW? You see what I'm saying? Because I think there's a lot that you can call out RPW on, and I have in the past. One of the biggest thing that shouts out to me is the ability to connect with younger voters. RPW is terrible with that. Now, Turning Point happens to be really good with that. So, and here's my beef with Turning Point, since we're just talking about that. I hate young, arrogant people that haven't done anything, haven't made a mark in the world, and think they know everything. That just grates at me. That grinds my gears. But at the same time, if they are bringing young people into the party, Who am I to hate on that too? So again, if RPW is not willing to defend itself, if RPW is not willing to say, hey, no, this is not happening, if RPW is not willing to do that, then how can anyone else defend RPW? At the same time, if we look on the other side, the Turning Point side, I get it. You're young, you're upstarts, you think you got new ideas. The sad part is there really are no new ideas under the sun. Everything's been played out, everything's been done, everything's been tried, everything has been tried, tested, true, failed, retried, rehashed, succeeded. It's a vicious circle. I think the biggest surprise out of this weekend will be if we are able to take all of these fragmented groups that voted for Trump, the groups that don't necessarily agree with one another, the groups that don't necessarily like one another, the groups that don't necessarily get along but have the same goal, will they be able to look past their differences and say, hey, we actually working for the same ends. We are actually trying to get this state to be red once again. Or are we going to sit here and play the same old silly ass game we played for years here? We're blaming everybody else. We're not taking accountability. And worse yet, and there's rumblings of this, that there's going to be a so-called vote of no confidence against Chairman Brian Shimmy. I think if that happens, you're going to lose a lot of people from the party itself. It will definitely leave a lot of bad taste in people's mouths. But who knows? We'll see. But like I said, I will be streaming. I will be putting out content. We'll get some photos. We'll get some comments. We'll get all kinds of stuff here. I got the handy dandy Ray-Bans with the camera feature, so we'll be able to live stream. My goal is to live stream both from Facebook and YouTube. So I plan on doing both of these here. So guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe. And if you don't, watch out for the repo man. He's going to steal your shit. Seriously. No, I'm just bullshitting. All right, guys. I'm out. I'll catch up with you guys later tonight. Peace.